All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this live stream of Azure Back to School. Uh, Today, we have a great presentation on orchestrating ADF with managed airflow from Sally Dabbah. And with me is my co-organizer, Derek Smith. Derek, you want to say a couple of words?
Yeah, no, welcome everyone. Excited to we're 19 days in now, so I'm really excited to learn more about Azure Data Factory. It's a technology I will openly admit I haven't been super good at, so I'm looking forward to Sally's presentation and seeing what we can do.
Yep. The floor is yours, Sally. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Sally. I'm a data engineer in Microsoft. I work in the Fast Track team, and today I'm going to present a simple demo on how can we orchestrate ADF with the power of managed airflow. So let's start. So here, I'm not gonna, as you all know, ADF is an orchestrator. You can author pipelines, you can do data flows, you can perform basically here transformations, you can have your data sets. We also have, as an addition, change data capture option, and of course, integration with Power Query. Now, in the pipelines itself, we have I'm going to open one really quickly. You can move and transform your data. Let's say copy activity has over 100 connectors, which is great. You can connect to on-prem data sources and also on third-party data sources. You can have Synapse notebooks and much more connectors. And so let's start with the demo itself. So ADF has you can orchestrate ADF with Airflow. So to do that, you need to open your Manage tab. And here you can see under Workflow Orchestration Manager an instance of Airflow. In order to create an instance, you just click on New, fill all the details that you need, and then click on create. It usually takes up to 20 minutes. Again, this feature is still in preview, so if it doesn't work for you, just you can email us or raise a feedback in Azure portal. Um, so after you create your instance, click on the monitor. Here you have three options. You can import DAGs, you can monitor it, and you can edit your instance itself. You can auto scale and all the options that we saw before. So if you click on monitor tab, this tab will open for you the Airflow UI. And here you have to configure ADF connection in order to integrate with ADF. We have two connections, two connectors, sorry. So here in Azure Data Factory, I'm not gonna open everything because I have my credentials here. But when you list everything here, you can click on test connection, and you should see that it was successfully connected to Azure Data Factory. Now let's back to the demo itself. In this quick demo, I would like to have two data flows. I have pipelines, which is pipeline sum a grade and average for grades. So I have a JSON file that I uploaded to my ADLS account. This is my ADLS data lake, and I have students um, file which I will be using as my data set. And as you can see, it has multiple attributes like ID, name, grade, address, and all the detail for this specific student. And what I care about basically is the grade attribute. I'm gonna sum all grades for all the students, and I'm gonna calculate average in two different pipelines. So I added it as a data set here in my data set. And in my pipeline, let's see, I dragged here from here my data flow. If you double click on it, it will open your data flow. Here I listed my data set, which is located in my data lake, and I'm selecting a grades column. through the select activity. Then I'm aggregating a grade through the aggregate activity. I'm telling basically the function to sum all the grades that I have in my file, and eventually I'm writing to the sink, and sink in this case is my ADLS. Now, same process goes for the average pipeline. Um, 1 minute. Pipeline. For some reason, I can't see the average pipeline, but it's here. 1 minute. Okay, I don't know why it's not opening my data flows, but the same pipeline as in my average pipeline. I basically selected same activities, but instead of sum, I'm writing average. And here on the monitor tab, you can see in ADF, you can see your pipeline runs, the triggers, CDC, integration runtimes, and much more. So back to Airflow. So this is my, after I import my DAGs. Wait, I skipped the part with the ADLS. So in order to make Airflow works, you need to have two folder. 1 minute, I'm gonna open it. You have to have folder named Airflow with two subfolders, DAGs and plugins. In DAGs, you should have your Python code, and I wrote that my ADF code will be named ADF. Okay, and in plugins, usually it's empty, but I'm gonna explain about the requirements file in a bit. So this is basically the basic structure that you need to have under Airflow folder. And when you click on manage on your instance import, then you select your data lake. In this case, I have test Sally container, and under that I have my Airflow folder. And when you click OK, you can import your DAG. Okay, I'm not gonna do it now because I already uploaded my Python code, my DAG code. Now, after it was imported to my instance, when you click on the monitor UI here, on the monitor click here, it should open to you your website, the Airflow website, with your pipeline. If I click on my pipeline, I can see that I have dummy operator, which I named begin, a branch Python operator, which it will choose task randomly, my two pipelines from ADF, and you can see here in the operator a description that it's Azure Data Factory Run Pipeline Operator and end as a dummy operator. Now, if you don't do the connection to ADF, these two tasks will not work. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, in this workflow, I want to choose task randomly using random code in Python, and I'm just gonna quickly open my DAG code. Okay, so here I have all the imports, and this is how you can import the Data Factory operator. It's called Azure Data Factory Run Pipeline Operator, and you can also have status sensor operator. Now I'm using Python to choose task randomly. So here I'm using random.choice my two pipelines, and I'm just logging a basic info which pipeline should be executed. And this is a generic code of DAG in Airflow. And here I define basically my pipeline run, if it's a average pipeline run or some pipeline run. And in branch task, here we get to run my function get task name, which will choose my task name according to the random function. And as you all know, in Airflow, tasks start from left to right. So first we have begin, we have the branch, and this is how you write if you want to execute one of them, one of the tasks. And then you have end task. Now, this is a basic and generic code. I wrote a blog about it here in Tech Community with all the details with my data set. I'm gonna share it in the chat when we are finished. So here, if I click on the Airflow logo, if I click on Run, trigger DAG, it should trigger a run for me. Right now is queued. Again, this product is in preview, so if it won't work for you, it's totally fine. You can raise a support ticket or give us feedback. Okay, let's see. In this specific run, as you see, the pipeline skipped a pipeline some grades, and you can see also here that pipeline some grades were skipped, and the average grades are running. And on ADF, on monitor, pipeline runs, you can see that it's running and it's manual triggered. So basically ADF succeeded to trigger my pipeline runs, which is great. And I think in 2 minutes we should get succeeded status. Okay, it's now in progress. So do you have any questions until it's finished? Anyone? I'm gonna paste my blog in the chat. You can check it out just to mimic the steps. Derek, why I can't paste here? I can't hear you.
Sorry. Put it in the private chat,
Mm,
and
okay.
then I'll get it over. I don't think, unless you're an admin, you can't post the comments, I
Mm-hmm.
think.
It's totally
Thanks.
fine. Thank you. Um, so yeah, basically from Airflow you can orchestrate ADF. I don't think Airflow came to replace ADF because ADF is already integrated with all the Azure services. As I mentioned earlier, we have so many connectors in my pipelines. We have the Azure security. We have the SLA agreement by Microsoft. Like the service will be up. Microsoft guarantees to its customers that the service will be up to 99% of the time. So I think it's a good way to just work around things. And if you see any limitation, because usually ADF is a code-free service, so if you see any limitation, you can just solve it by coding Airflow. If you have an old Airflow code that you don't want to migrate or move to ADF or rebuild in ADF, you can just use the component of managed instance and run your code in the UI. So I think it's a great addition to ADF. And by the way, Airflow should be added to Microsoft Fabric too. Microsoft Fabric is a one service that has a lot of features, um, and I think adding Airflow there will be great for companies who is using code-based operators or custom operators. Okay, while it's still running, I'm gonna go over my my Airflow instance and explain the requirements. 1 minute. The requirement field. Now here, as you can see, we have Airflow requirements tab, and if you noticed in my ADLS, in my data lake, I have a compressed file under my DAGs, custom operators. It's a compressed file, and in requirements under plugins, I added a text file. And here I'm telling Airflow just um, to know my custom operator. And in this way, when you add your requirements text under plugins, and when you add your compressed file under your DAGs folder, in your environment, in your managed instance, Here you can see your requirement, and when you click on apply, the instance itself will know your custom code. So let's suppose that you have a custom operator and it's not supported by Airflow or ADF. You can add it to a compressed file and then you can use it in your code. So again, it gives us a flexibility and dynamic way of work via Airflow. Um, 1 minute, I'm gonna check if it's done. Yeah, so my pipeline is done running, and you can see that it has a succeeded status. If I open my UI again, you can see that uh, it's marked with dark green, and that means that it was succeeded, and my pipeline run um, is over. Let's go to frequently asked questions. So how can you configure a Airflow instance in ADF? First of all, it's written in Microsoft documentation. I can also share the link. Okay. How does Azure Data Factory managed Airflow work? We also have a short description and the basic demo on Microsoft website in Microsoft documentation. Is this a replacement to ADF? The question is no, it's not a replacement. It comes as a feature to ADF. It helps customers, as I mentioned, to have a more flexible and code activities in their ADF, which is super important. And when will it go GA? We don't have really an estimation yet, but when it will go GA, we will definitely announce it. That's it from my side. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I don't
Dwayne, do you
see
see?
any. Yeah, I don't see any questions in the
Yeah,
chat, so I think no questions. But yeah, great demo.
thank you so much. I just want to say that if anyone has any question about Airflow or ADS, just ping me on LinkedIn or on my private mail, and I can answer you.
Great.
Awesome.
No, we appreciate it. We appreciate your
Thank you
contributions
so
to
much.
Azure Back to School, giving us, over the past couple of weeks, some insight into a couple of the private preview sessions or private
Thank
preview
you so
services.
much.
So I saw you did put a couple of other links in here, so I'll get those into the comments as well. So anybody
Mhm.
that's watching this on demand can also see those. So great. Yeah, great information, and always good to see private preview services and how to
Yeah,
use
it will
them
go
and how
GA
they're in
soon.
action. Go to GA soon. Fingers crossed, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, let me add
Thank you so
Derek back in.
much.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, thanks everybody. Keep up with all of the Azure Back to School. This and many other of our live streams are available on demand on the Azure Back to School YouTube channel, and you can find all that in the schedule on azureback2school.github.io. But thanks, Sally, for your contributions, both of
Thank you
them this
so
month.
much.
Appreciate you getting on with us on the live stream. Derek, anything else you'd like to add before you get on your flight?
No, just yeah. Thank you, Sally, so much for sharing the private preview stuff. Definitely looking forward to it, and really appreciate all your contributions for the back to school this month. So
Thank you
thank you,
so
thank you.
much. Have a safe flight.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your day,
Bye bye.
everybody.
All right, take care.